Hello friends, I welcome all of you. In this video, I will discuss the different ways with which we can access a device over network and then without network. Without network means locally, using cables. We will talk about it at the later half of this video. Let's begin the first thing, that is how we can access it over network. So here I am not talking about devices from the perspective of Cisco. I know we have to deal with Cisco routers and switches in this course. However, it is important for us to know how to access other devices like Windows servers, Linux or Apple based devices, or there are many vendors actually like IBM, HP. Alright, so we should have a workstation from where we will access and a device, that is the destination server. We should have the interfaces. These can be wireless or wired. We should have IP addressing configured on source as well as on destination server or device, and we should have the network established, that is routing should be done, static routing, either it can be dynamic routing. So end-to-end connectivity should be there. All right, because most of us have worked over remote network, so we know we have to establish these things, and you will also be working remotely most of the times. All right, so there are many applications. First one is just look at the screen. The first one is SSH, that is secured shell. There is one tool which you can install. The name is Putty, Putty, or there are other applications as well which you can download from internet like Secure CRT. So these are the tools which has the capability to access the device over SSH. Putty is free of cost, no need to worry, but if you work for a company, they'll give this application to you. So in that SSH option is there, or you can define the port number 22, that is for this application. So the beauty of this is that whatever you type in, whatever command you supply or credentials you enter, those cannot be read or seen by any hacker or anyone who is sniffing the network. So it is totally end-to-end encrypted. Okay, so it basically has the concept of certificates. First of all, this SSH service should be installed or in active state on the destination server, and once it is there, once you access it, supply the credentials, so it will download a certificate on your workstation. All right, just to authenticate you next time. So next time it will not ask you. So after that, end to end it will be encrypted. So it is very important, and this is a must way to access any device. All right, over CLI. So this is a CLI. Second one is Telnet, which is now being deprecated because it is an open text. Means whatever you type in, your credentials, your commands, those can be seen by hackers, right? So Telnet is now not being preferred in the companies. It is banned actually. If you try to use Telnet on your Windows workstation, it will say it is not installed, you have to install it. There is a way to do it. Even on the Apple it is blocked, right? Because it's very unsecured way. So you can use it in your testing environment, or if you're accessing any device within the LAN. LAN is generally secure, that is within the company, but not from the internet. Internet it is blocked. Port number 23 is used by this. Okay, TCP 23 for Telnet and TCP 22 for SSH. All right, so like it says, it is outdated because it doesn't deal with the encryption. Then there is a RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol. It is also known as MRDP, Microsoft Remote Desktop Protocol. So most of you have Windows based workstations, so it will be built in. It works over TCP port number 3389. It's a GUI way of accessing a remote device. Mostly it is for Windows only. Type in MSTSC, alright, or search for Microsoft Remote Desktop in the run, you'll find it, and then type in the IP address, supply the credentials, then you can access that device remotely. Means not the Cisco routers, okay? Again, the service should be running on the destination device. It is the condition for all type of services. So these are services. Okay, MRDP is an application. RDP is a service. And then there's a VNC, which is a virtual network computing. This is also a way with which you can access a device, graphically. So once you practice your lab on EVNG, you will have hosts which will work on this VNC. So you have to install a VNC viewer application on that. Alright. Then there is a browsing. This thing is known to you, very easy. http.google.com, that is also server. You can also access the Cisco device or firewall, or let's say your vManage if you're dealing with SD-WAN, or your DNAC, DNS Center, Cisco ICE. So all these work, your wireless controller, right? So all those work on HTTPS. Prefer HTTPS, that is secured version, right? Because you need to supply your credentials. Alright, it works on port TCP 443, this HTTPS, and HTTP is TCP 80. Even Google is not ranking the websites which are only HTTP, right? For this HTTPS, you need to have a SSL certificate, okay, TLS certificate, which is popularly known as SSL. TLS means transport layer security. Alright, like cameras as well. So most of the applications support HTTPS. It's a good way, but routers, we prefer CLI only. Then there is a FTP or SFTP. Again, SFTP also works on port number 22 like SSH, right? But this is a secure way. It uses port 22. I told you this is mainly for transferring files over the network. You may have to upload the images on the routers or switches, or you may have to download the some logs sometimes. Once you deal with Cisco Nexus devices, you will have a lot of logs. Like on Cisco switches, there's a VLAN.dat file which is there, and there are many other files which you'll find. So SFTP can be used. On the old devices, you will not find this option there. Alright, so FTP is also there in advanced options. So FTP works on TCP port 20 and 21. 20 is for data transfer, 21 is for for sending commands. UDP also works, which I don't really know the complete functionality, but SFTP is over TCP, that I know. Even Windows based servers, they're also can be accessed using FTP and SFTP because there are file servers in the big companies. Then SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol. It is mainly for monitoring the devices. So once you work in a company, you will have a tool which will be, polling the devices, including your network devices. Like if any device goes down, then it will generate alert, right? So there are read-only, read-write communities option there. Okay. So SNMP works on UDP port number 161 for monitoring and managing the network devices. Right. So read-write option is there with which you can push certain commands over to device. Then there is a TFTP, that is a trivial file transfer protocol. That is also a way to upload the images over to Cisco routers and switches. It works on UDP port number 69. So these are the methods, or you can say applications or services which are needed for you to do the work over the network, right? And now the local ways. There are different type of ports. For the network, there will be network ports, and for the non-network, there will be console port. So console port, for the console port, you can plug in the cable, connect the device, because initially device is not on the network, right? You have to do it manually and set it up with minimal configurations like IP address of the interface, and then once it is reachable over the network, then you do rest of the things over the network. All right. So with console is the best way, the only way in past, but nowadays what companies are doing is they are having LAN port for management. So the expectation is that you connect a cable over there. So it is already configured to receive IP over DHCP. So DHCP is the server which allocates IP addresses to the interfaces or to workstation. So interface is also a LAN card, or you may call it a equivalent to workstation. So it will receive the IP and then you access it over the network, right? But console, we actually have configured many devices in our career of 20 years. All right, console, you must be aware. Then there is auxiliary port, which is again a non-network way. Just like if you've lost network due to whatever reasons like ISP outage or some wrong configuration, then you should look for out of band methods. Perhaps I did not tell you. So there are two kind of categorization, right? One is in band and one is out of band. So in band is like your device is configured with the IP addresses and you're also sitting in the same network and you are accessing the device from within the network. That is in band, right? So out of band is like a different network apart from your main network. Let's say that you're sitting in Mumbai, your device is in Delhi, and you have a lease line through which you are accessing the Delhi device from Mumbai. And if that ISP outage occurs, then you cannot do it, right? So what you can do is you build an additional network through different ISP if you want to do it over network. So if you lose it, you access using out of band. So in every device we have the out of band network configured. This is required. Okay, all the ISPs, all the companies mandate you do have out of band network. So we access it only over out of band, and out of band is different than your in band. That is your normal internal network. Maybe it is possible that you can access from internal, but if it goes down, don't worry, you have alternate network, a different ISP, right? And out of band is also non-network. Like, let's say you're both out of band out of band network as well as in band network is down. So now there is an auxiliary port option there. Auxiliary means over telephone lines. There will be modem. You will dial in that modem and it will be normal telephone lines and with which you can access a device. It is mainly helpful when you've done some mistake on a device and you lost the connectivity. Now you have to rely on third way. All right. So in band, out of band. Out of band is also on network. Okay. And also on non-network. So I told you about these ways. So console port is there to be able to log in into device and configure. USB ports are also there. Now you see, console port is actually replaced with USB port these days in latest devices. So if you have a normal USB cable, because laptops are having USB ports, the other end is also USB, you plug in there, configure. That is one way. Second is that if the device is not supporting USB port, it is not there, then you need to use a console cable, which is a light blue color steep cable. It is also known as rollover cable. So if one end is RJ45, RJ means I think a register jack, I don't remember. It is just like your LAN port only. You plug in that port. Other end. Now other end, it depends like whether you are having a latest laptop or you are having old laptop or old workstation, because old workstation will have serial ports as well. So initially So like 15-20 years back, we used to have that serial port on other end. One end is RJ45, other end is serial. Once you search over internet, you'll find it. It's a big size port. You plug in there. But if your workstation doesn't have it, then what? So you need a converter or an adapter for that. Okay, so adapter like serial to USB adapter. Okay, one end is RJ45, other end is serial. Now you need to use adapter. Plug it in, connect it, and other end is USB. Connected your laptop and start accessing the device using console port. Alright. You also need to install a converter application which you can download from Cisco. But nowadays, all of the devices are having USB at both ends, or one end is RJ45, other end is USB. It is fine. Some 15 years back, things were difficult. Alright. So USB for console port is available, and USB for data upload is available as well. What if you want to upload operating system on a device? So device also has USB ports for uploading operating system, or in the boot flash. Boot flash is a kind of place where you store the these files, okay, or logs file. It is just like a hard disk. All right, we call it flash or boot flash. Auxiliary port, I told you. So first one is, look at the screen, RJ45 to DB9. DB9 is a type of serial port. We used to have it in past. Nowadays it's a RJ45 to USB most of the times. And then there is a very advanced devices, USB to mini USB. So one end it is USB, other end is USB type C, maybe like Apple iPhones, right? So that type of port is there. If it is there, then cable is also available, right? Then there is a USB to serial adapter. I was telling you that if your laptop has only USB port, but the cable you have is USB to DB9, sorry, RJ45 to DB9, then you need an adapter. You also need to install an application which you can download and reboot the workstation, and then you access using console. Okay, so console is also an out of band. You can also set your credentials. I'll talk about all of these things as soon as we progress. And then there's a normal USB cable, both ends USB, connect, do your work, right? So these were the ways, directly and over the network. So you must know all of these methods. And in the next video, I'll show you how to access the device, Cisco device over the network using the PuTTY, both Telnet and SSH, right? So that you will have some idea. And if time permits me, I'll show you the cable, this one console cable, also known as rollover cable. All right. So thank you so much for your time. Have a nice day.